Hey everybody, it's me, Julie. Today I'm going to be talking about what if somebody steals my story? This is something I've been hearing a lot lately, and I don't know what's caused this epidemic of people asking me this question, but it seems like a lot of people are really concerned that if they were to send their book out to anybody for evaluation, get beta readers, get opinions, get early reviews, their idea is going to get stolen. And that is what's stopping them from looking for outside opinions outside of people in their family or their best friends, who, of course, are not going to be able to give them an objective opinion. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about two ways that your idea can get stolen. And one of them would be the person just physically takes the entire piece of writing that you have written and tries to publish it under their own name. And the other way that they could steal something is to read what you've written and come up with a derivative idea based on that and try to write their own version of it. These things generally do not happen. I'm going to say that again, it really almost never happens. Theft of ideas is almost non-existent in the book world. It can happen, but it's unlikely to happen to you, and here is why. People who would be lazy enough to steal your idea are not going to turn around and do the hard part of trying to get it published or trying to rewrite it in a way that's pleasing to publishers. So, first of all, the first way that I mentioned earlier about how someone can steal your idea is if they actually take the whole thing and try to publish it under their own name. That will not happen because you automatically have a copyright on anything that you fix in a tangible form, which means as soon as you write it down, it belongs to you by law, regardless of whether you have registered it, paid for it, or whatever. The problem, of course, arises if you're ever called to prove it. And so some people they're obsessed with this idea that someone's going to try to sell their writing passed off as their own, as the thief's own. So they plaster copyright notices all over it. They stampede to get a copyright registration with the Copyright Office, etc. None of these things are necessary to prove that you wrote it. But if you do think that you're one day going to have to prove that you wrote this piece of writing, you may feel better if you go ahead and do what's called a poor man's copyright. And I'm told that this is not necessarily going to prove anything in court, but it is a good way of showing that you have had this piece of writing since a particular date. And what you do is you print out your document, you put it in a sealed envelope, tape it all around the outside of the top of the seal of the envelope, and then you mail it to yourself. And then, of course, you're not going to be able to fake the postal stamp that shows the date. So you have proof that whatever is inside has been sealed inside since the date that the post office sent that to you. Then you have proof that this text has been yours since this particular time. If that makes you feel better about maybe being able to share your writing and being able to have proof that it is yours, then go ahead and do that if it makes you sleep easier. But honestly, the second way that someone might steal your writing is to be inspired by it and create something derivative from it. This is not technically stealing, because actually most pieces of writing are inspired in some way, or may even be an homage, or may be a retold fairy tale. These are all ways of being inspired by other writers to write your own stuff. And it's pretty rare that someone who is inspired by your work is just going to basically take all of your ideas with your characters and your whole setup and your premise and just try to write it themselves. Because again, writing the book is actually the easiest part. Coming up with ideas is, I don't like to devalue ideas, but ideas are pretty cheap. The actual execution is where the magic happens. So somebody who is going to be that lazy to just steal ideas from other people is probably not going to go through all the work of getting that stuff out there to the publishers, looking for agents if they want to go for mainstream publishing, etc. That stuff is really hard, and it's complicated, and it's not for the faint of heart. So it's very unlikely that somebody who is not willing to go through the work of coming up with their own idea is going to suddenly be up for this whole fight that comes after you've actually written the piece. So please, please don't be afraid to share your writing with people outside of your family and friend groups so that you can get honest opinions on it. And also, if it helps you feel any better about maybe not being stolen from, try associating with other writers who are also looking for reactions to their work. Exchange a few chapters so that you haven't given them the whole thing. And then the two of you can react to each other's work so that you both get something out of it. You're both risking the same thing, and people who are in the same situation as you are very unlikely to victimize you in the way that you might be afraid of. So definitely look for critique partners who are also writers, and send it out bit by bit if you're worried about that. And so that sums up how to not worry so much about getting your ideas stolen. And let me know if you have questions about anything that I said, or any further suggestions about what I might talk about next time. Thanks.